the main goal for businesses is to make profits. However, many businesses operating in Africa are engaging in better serving their workforce and local communities through corporate social responsibility, CSR. Programs such as generous maternity leave for employees and building schools and hospitals are making a positive impact within companies, on communities and countries. But critics say more needs to be done in Africa in implementing corporate social responsibility. And joining us in the studio for more on the subject is Dr. Mathews Chikaonda, former Minister of Finance and Economic Planning and Development of Malawi and currently Group Chief Executive of Press Corporation Limited. Dr. Chikaonda, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
So what is your take on the issue of CSR in terms of how it's being implemented on the continent? What type of impact do you say it is having?
I think CSR in general has the connotation of handouts, companies giving handouts, and yet at the same time, they have to be responsible to the shareholders. I would like to think of CSR from a perspective of a social investment to catalyze the communities in which we do business. That has an empowering aspect to it, and that's more sustainable, where you're investing in communities to be part of your business as partners in the supply chain, value chain creation. That's where it becomes more sustainable. And right across Africa, I think companies now are looking at the sustainability of our operations. You look at poverty reduction, for example. It will only come if you involve people. No individual or country has really developed with handouts. So I think that trend now going to say, get people involved as partners in your supply chain for whatever business you're doing is much more sustainable because there's value addition, there's a win-win situation, and this is what we're really seeing right across Africa.
There are observations, critics that say CSR is still not really working. When we look at the issue in the Niger Delta, where the region is producing most of the wealth of the country, but then you see so much poverty and destruction of environment. How do we hold government responsible in terms of getting more involved in the process to ensure that companies are doing the right thing?
I think that governments really should play a facilitative role. And also, CSR that doesn't work is because it's one direction. You must always say, what is in there for the communities that I'm actually engaging in these social investments, I would like to call them that way. Because your shareholders have to be happy. The people you're engaging also have to be happy that you're making a difference. Governments have to create a playing field that facilitates this interaction between communities and big corporates, big companies, even small companies that are involved in it.
And that will include the right policies, the laws, enforcing these laws?
Absolutely. And all that space, I think where things tend to go wrong is that sometimes governments, there's a tendency for governments to want to get credit for everything that happens. Mm-hmm. And in that process, you tend to politicize these issues. And it's the politicization of issues of social engagement, social investment, that then later on ends up distorting the picture where the poverty still remains. It's more entrenched, although companies are really getting involved in corporate social responsibility programs.
How do we make communities part of this process, creating this partnership very quickly?
I think the communities have to actually, you have to show communities that there is something in there for them. And what they should be able to see is empowerment. Ability for them to get involved in the value addition, for them to be part of the equation, to own up to these programs also in part, not this idea of a company throwing monies at communities. You can never solve problems by throwing monies at communities or any problem at all. Get the people involved around the issue so that they take ownership also of the programs that you're implementing in the various communities. Okay. And also your company then is benefiting from the involvement of these communities.
Mr. Chikaonda, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
It was great to have you in our studios. And that's Dr. Mathews Chikaonda. He is former Minister of Finance and Economic Planning and Development of Malawi and Group Chief Executive of Press Corporation Limited.